Hello and welcome to the Temple of Enlightenment International Spiritual Center. My name is Issachar Bey, and I want to thank all of you for tuning in. Hey, listen, if this is your first time tuning in, please hit the like button. Please let us know what city, what state, what country you're listening from. We want to invite you and welcome you to our weekly teaching. We're here, same place, same time every week. I want to thank all of you for being a part of this teaching and being consistent, and also helping us to get the word out, helping us to share and let people know that they can come to this channel, this platform, and get teaching, wisdom, knowledge, understanding about different topics that can help you to reinvent your life, to put you in a better position and a better place in life, and also how to become a better version of yourself. And so here at the Temple of Enlightenment, that's what we do. I'm excited about your future. I'm excited about everything that's coming into manifestation. We believe that the best way to predict the future is to create it. And so we are forever grateful for your insight and your wisdom. I want to thank all of you, like I said, once again, for all of your emails, your comments, your support that you give all of us throughout the week here at the Temple of Enlightenment. I want to thank all of you for your financial donations, the seeds that you've sown into this ministry. Our organization, we are forever grateful, and I think that it's imperative that we honor and salute you for your consistency. As we get ready to move into today, I want us to get into a quiet position, get into a place of quiet rest, where we can tap into our place of quietness, to quiet our minds, our lives, our energy, to quiet everything around us as we move into this place of this spiritual mind treatment that we're going to get into. Why? Because we believe that we need to hear and begin to see from a different perspective. I want to be able to see things that I've never saw before, hear things that I've never heard before. Why? Because I'm looking for enlightenment. I'm looking for knowledge and wisdom and understanding that can elevate me and put my life in a better position, in a better place. And so today, we're continuing in another great space. I'm excited about today. As you get in your quiet position, go ahead and take a deep breath and inhale and exhale. Once again, take a deep breath and inhale and exhale. Once again, take a deep breath and inhale and exhale. I turn within to the infinite presence, the source of all love, humanity, and the right companionship. This presence is the essence of the perfect relationship, the unity of all life, expressing as connection, respect, joy, and divine partnership. I recognize that I am one with this presence, and as such, I am worthy of and aligned with the relationship I desire. I affirm now that there are spiritual laws and keys that govern the manifestation of love, and I align with these keys fully and joyfully. I become clear about the love I desire, the qualities I wish to share and receive, and the vibration of the relationship that will bless my soul and purpose. I affirm that I am deserving of love, respect, and joy. I release any beliefs of unworthiness or fear of rejection, and I claim my divine right to experience a relationship that honors who I am. I no longer seek someone to complete me, for I am complete in spirit now. I attract from fullness, not from lack, and I bring my whole self to love. I align my thoughts, emotions, and actions with the vibration of the relationships I desire. I think, I speak love, I act in love, and I become love. I release any past attachments, old wounds, and limiting beliefs that no longer serve my highest good in relationships. I let go of what is not aligned to make space for what is divinely aligned to enter. I give thanks for the laws that govern love, for the present that sustains love, and for the truth that love is seeking me even as I seek it. I release this word into divine law, knowing that the relationship I desire is already unfolding with beauty, harmony, and divine order. I now walk in faith, in love, and in expectancy, manifesting the relationship that mirrors the divine love I hold within. And so it is, and so it is. Uh, Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank all of you for tuning in. Please, if you can, go ahead and hit the like button. If you haven't done so already, let us know what city, what state, what country you're listening in from. And also, if you can, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so that you can be notified every time we post, every time we put stuff on here, and you can be a part of the family. Today, I want to talk, as we continue in our subject, I call this particular series that we've been doing for the past few weeks, I called it Mind Therapy. Today, we're talking about 6 keys to manifesting the relationship you desire. Now, I know a lot of people are listening in saying, you know what, I want to get a relationship. I want to be in a loving relationship. I want to be with somebody who loves me. You know the kind of person that you want to be in a relationship with. But today I want to look at some things about relationships. I want to look at what makes a great relationship. What are the components of a relationship? I want to look at maybe some of us are maybe operating in 2 out of the 6, maybe 1 out of the 6. Maybe some of us are not operating out of any of them because we don't really have a general understanding of what a relationship is. We see what we see on TV and what we see on social media and what we have been taught or been shown in retrospect, so to speak, of what a relationship is. But do we really understand the understanding of the intricate details, the intricate foundation of what relationship is? And I want to look at that today. I want to get into that today because I think that this is something that's very vital. It's for this day and time, and that we need to be in this understanding right now. It's amazing in this series that we're teaching some of the topics that we've talked about in the last few weeks. People are hitting me up and saying, oh man, this is amazing. I needed to hear this a few weeks ago. I needed to hear this years ago, you know. But everything happens in divine time and for a divine place. And so I believe that there's no mistakes, there's no accidents. And so if you're hearing something today, it is my intention that what you hear today will move you and put you in a place now where you can now start manifesting the relationships that you desire. I want to talk for a minute. Let's get into this story real quickly. Denise was 39 years old. She's a beautiful, wise, and accomplished. But when it came to love, she felt like she was living in a drought. Every time she thought she found him, the well dried up. There was Marcus, who called her queen in the public, but then he crushed her confidence in private. There was Jordan. He was spiritual, he was deep, poetic, until he ghosted her on her birthday. Then there was Anthony, the therapist, who told her he wasn't emotionally available. One night, Denise stood in her bathroom, tears running down her cheeks like rivers of regret. She whispered in the mirror, God, why do I keep attracting the same man with a different face? No response came until she fell asleep. Once she fell asleep, she began to move into a dream. In her dream, she stood barefoot in a massive temple, silent and glowing. The walls were made of, uh, I want to say, almost of like a marble stone, etched with symbols from forgotten languages. A voice echoed, "You do not need another man. You need the six sacred keys." A woman appeared, regal, radiant, wrapped in starlight. She called herself the guardian of the sacred relationships. She held out her golden ring of six shimmering keys. Each key unlocked the next stage of your becoming. Before you attract him, you must remember you. Denise hesitated. Where do I begin? The guardian smiled. With one thing every divine relationship must be rooted in: friendship. Suddenly, Denise was back in high school, sitting on a bench with her childhood friend, Alina, laughing, playing, fighting, no judgment, no pressure. It hit her that was the last time she had love that didn't demand performance. The guardian's voice returned. You've been searching for a lover, but ignoring the friend. Start there. Denise woke up the next morning and texted an old friend. They connected, they cried, they healed. Weeks later, Denise met somebody new, Julian, charismatic, magnetic, present. But she felt herself wanting to cling, to text first, to check his social media. The guardian returned in meditation. Freedom, Denise. Can you love without a leash? She sat in silence that week, resisting the urge to chase. She began journaling instead. If it's real, it won't need chains. Love is not ownership, it's oxygen. She passed the freedom test, not by holding tighter, but by letting go. Julian invited her over. They talked deep, talked about childhood wounds, future dreams. He asked, "What were, why were you single so long?" She paused. Because I was afraid to be fully seen. I was scared of saying what I really wanted, afraid I was too much. His eyes didn't flinch. He said, "Thank you. That was beautiful." In that moment, Denise unlocked honesty, not as a confession, but as liberation. One day, Julian didn't reply for 2 days. Denise panicked. The stories in her head returned. He's gone. See, you're not enough. This always happens. But then she breathed. She heard the guardian say again, you cannot attract trust until you trust yourself. She pulled out her mirror and looked at it and said, Denise, I trust you to handle whatever this is. I trust your wisdom. I trust your intuition. Not too long after that, Julian texted her and said, I'm sorry, my brother had an emergency. Can I call you? Denise smiled, not because he came back, but because she stayed grounded. The more they spoke, the more she realized they were different. Different upbringing, different emotional styles, different love languages. But instead of judging or fixing, she got curious. She practiced the I hear you technique. They repeated each other's words until the other felt understood. And suddenly, arguments turned into alignment. Understanding, the guardian whispered, is an agreement. It's love translated. Denise stood before Julian one night and asked him, "Why do you want us? What do you want from us?" She looked at him in the eye and said clearly, "I want a divine partnership rooted in friendship, held in honesty, bathed in bathed in freedom, covered in trust, grounded in understanding, and guided by communication." Julian grinned. "Then let's build it." In that moment, Denise realized she hadn't been chasing love. She had been unlocking herself, one sacred key at a time. 6 keys, ladies and gentlemen, 6 keys to manifesting the relationship you desire. I want to look at relationship for a minute. Let's just look at the word relationship. I want to look at this because everybody listening to me now, you're either in a relationship, you desire a relationship, you just got out of a relationship. And in this moment, that we have to look at this from a really foundational perspective to really get an understanding of why relationships are important. I believe that we weren't put on this earth to be by ourselves. Everybody wants a soulmate. Everybody wants a partner, wants a spouse. They want somebody they can talk to, somebody they can love, somebody who loves them. Yeah, we understand that. But I believe that you never get out of life what you want. You only get out of life what you become. And what happens is, as we look at Denise, she unlocked these 6 keys within herself. Once she was able to realize these 6 keys, you can start attracting the kind of relationships that you want, because these 6 keys really is what makes a relationship thrive, really are the foundations of a good relationship. Now, when I look at the word relationships, I look at the word R, which to me represents resonance. Relationships are built on frequency. You attract who you are, not what you want. I vibrate at the frequency of love, wholeness, and alignment. I look at, in the word relationship, I look at that letter E as energy exchange. Relationships are energy transactions. Love, attention, words, and presence are currencies. Every interaction is an energy deposit or an energy withdrawal. That's good right there. Let me say that again. Every interaction is an energy deposit or an energy withdrawal. I want to look at the letter L in relationships. That represents lessons. Relationships are classrooms for the soul, designed to awaken, refine, and expand you. Every relationship reveals the lessons I am ready to learn. The letter A represents alignment. True relationships align with your purpose and your soul's mission. If it derails you, it does not align you. I align with those who honor my path. The T in relationships represents trust. Trust is the bridge that holds a relationship structure. Without it, everything collapses. I trust myself to discern what aligns with my spirit. The letter I in relationships is intimacy. Into me I see. Relationships mirror your willingness to be seen and to see others deeply. I allow my sacred intimacy to deepen my connection. The letter O stands for oneness. All relationships are reflections of the one. Separation is illusion. All connection is a mirror. I see the divine in myself and also in others. The N in relationship stands for nourishment. Healthy relationships nourish your spirit, your mind, and your body. They are not constant struggles. I choose connections that feed my soul. The S, the letter S represents spiritual growth. Relationships are catalysts for spiritual evolution, awakening, forgiveness, compassion, and mastery. I grow spiritually through every connection I make. The letter H stands for honesty. Truth is the oxygen of a thriving relationship. Honesty with self and others is a sacred practice. I speak and receive truth in love. The I in relationship represent imagination. Conscious relationships require creative imagination to evolve and co-create visions together. I imagine and manifest divine partnerships. The P represents presence. Presence is the highest gift you can offer in a relationship. Your full presence is sacred. I am fully present in my relationships. This is my breakdown of when I look at the word relationship. This is what I see when I look at that word relationship. And from a foundational level, it all comes back to me. It comes back to you. Everything you desire, everything you're manifesting is a direct reflection of you. Today, I want to talk about manifesting the relationships you desire. You know that desire you have inside of you, that desire, that want, that desire, that yearning, that's not a mistake. You're supposed to have that. That desire lets you know that there's a purpose, there's a destiny, there's some things out there that needs to be completed in order to make this a complete manifestation in your life. You feel that desire that you feel to be in a relationship. That's why I've always said it's very important that you get an understanding of who you are. I think that that's so important, that you get a revelation, that you get the revelation, the knowledge, the understanding of who you are. Because what it does is it allows you to come into a place where you could really see yourself for who you are. The mirror is so powerful. And when I say look in the mirror, I don't mean look in the physical mirror, because yes, you can look in the physical mirror and you can say, oh, I look good today and I have on a nice outfit, I got my hair done, I got a haircut. But when I say look in the mirror, I mean in the transparency of who you really are. The intangible mirror, the mirror that's not the physical, but the intangible, to see the things that are in the intangible realm. Those are the real powerful things. When we talk about relationships, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about friendship. I think that friendships are the foundation of all great relationships. Anybody here who's ever had a best friend? Anybody here who's ever had a close friend? somebody who you could talk to, somebody who you could cry, you could tell, you could talk to about anything, you could be transparent, somebody who they can see the good, bad, and the ugly and still love you for who you are. A real friend who can tell you when you're wrong, but who also can celebrate you, who also can love you, who also can cover you. A real friend, right? Friends. I think we got to understand that word friendship and what friends really are. I had a conversation with a good friend of mine, and we were talking about this particular phrase: treat your family like your friends, and treat your friends like your family. When I look at friendship, I look at it as the emotional safety and also the spiritual alignment in a relationship, right? I think that when we talk about friendships, what are name 5 of the best qualities and of a friendship? Everybody has different qualities of what they will want in a friendship. So, what are the 5 qualities in your best friends or your friends friendship that you have with somebody that you would love to have in a relationship? Because you understand that there has to be friends first. A lot of times we meet people and we get in a relationship with them, we date, we quote unquote fall in love. We get in this relationship, but we were never friends. We were never friends first. We never hung out. We never did things. We never established that friendship. And believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, that friendship is really the foundation to be friends. Now, everybody's not a friend. So that's why the friendship is so important, because you hear people say, oh, we've been married for 50 years. But, we were friends first. We were friends. We grew up in high school. We hung out, friends. There's something, the foundation built on friendship is very vital. To establish a friendship with that person, I think it's going to be very vital, because friends are not easy to find. Everybody's not a friend. I mean, a real, true friend. We have people we hang out with, we have associates, we have, family, but when you call somebody a friend, that's my best friend, that's my, it comes into retrospect for us to take a look at that and really begin to understand the importance of friends. I am a friend to myself, and I attract partners who honor the friendship within love. The friendship has to be there. We do things together, we have fun, we hang out, we, the friends. And so I think it's extremely important that we begin to really look at that and really look at friends. Having the friendship first. You meet somebody, you want to establish the friendship first. Can I really be friends with this person? And I think that's very important. The second key, because freedom is the first, friendship is the first. The second one is freedom. Freedom versus codependency. Let's talk about that. Freedom does not threaten love, it strengthens it. Freedom within relationships create longevity. In a relationship, when you're occupying freedom, you want to identify the areas where you feel you lose yourself in a relationship. Write down 3 ways that you can honor your freedom and individuality in love. Freedom means that I can be who I want to be. I can be me. See, a lot of times when you get in a relationship, you try to be what the other person wants. Let me tell you this. Sometimes this is what happens too. Sometimes in a relationship, you can really lose yourself. And let me tell you why. When you get with somebody and you really like the person, and the person says, I like a woman that's this, and I like a man that's this, and I like this, and I like that, you will transform yourself to be that person that the other person wants. And that's cool, but you don't want to lose yourself. Let me tell you why. Whoever you hooked up with in a relationship, when you hooked up with them, when they came in your radar and you guys connected on that first time, you connected with them because they were who they were. Now, I understand that when you first get in a relationship, everybody puts their mask on. You're trying to be perfect. You're trying to be wonderful, and then as time goes on, the real you comes out. But like attracts like. So if you attract somebody, that person is coming in as who they are. You want to have the freedom to be who you are. You don't want to have to live walking on eggshells around somebody because you don't want to hurt their feelings, or because for instance, like this, you have people who are afraid of or jealous of the spouse. So you don't want to get in a relationship with somebody who's jealous of you. You can't elevate in life because you got a new promotion, or because you graduated, or because you got created a new job, or you hit another plateau or a new milestone. And so you have to hide your success because the person you're in a relationship with, you don't really have the freedom to be who you are. Your success makes them jealous or crushes them. You don't want to be in a relationship like that. You want to be with somebody who gives you the freedom to be who you are, and you give them the freedom to be who they are. And that works, ladies and gentlemen, because remember, we're building this on friendship. We're building this relationship on friendship. So as we move from friendship to that next level of freedom, because in friendship, there's freedom. If somebody's my best friend, we could talk about anything. We could discuss anything. I don't judge them. They don't judge me. I tell them how I feel. Sometimes they don't want my opinion. They just want to be heard. They just want to rant, and they just want to talk, and that's fine. But a real friend who loves you is not going to see you fall, is not going to see you do anything wrong or fall down and not help you get back up. But a real friend will tell you, hey, listen, I think what you're doing is absolutely wrong. I think you're going in the wrong direction. That's not the right way you should go. I think you should go this way. A real friend will tell you, hey, I don't really like that shirt, but I mean, if you want to wear it, you can wear it. And you love them for the honesty. You love them for what happens, right? In freedom, you have to have the freedom to be who you want to be in life, and allow your partner, your spouse, or the person you're in a relationship with to be free of who they are, where they don't have to be boxed in, where they don't have to be afraid of being who they are because you may not like them anymore, or you may fall out of love with them because they are now walking in their freedom. You got to have the freedom, ladies and gentlemen. You got to have the freedom. In freedom, I love deeply. In love, I remain free. The next key, ladies and gentlemen, is honesty. Honesty is the difference between brutal honesty and loving truth. How to communicate truth without fear of abandonment. Honesty is just being totally honest about how you feel, about what you think. Honesty is saying, I don't know. Honesty is saying, I don't know how I feel about this. Let's talk about it. Let's figure it out. Honesty is saying, maybe maybe I should or maybe I shouldn't. Honesty is being able to not put out a falsified appearance that's not real. Honesty sometimes will and in relationships, honesty sometimes, because remember, all of these keys, this is what's so great about this, ladies and gentlemen, is that all of these keys of the great relationship all are being implemented in friendship. Anybody who has a best friend, a real friend, honesty is definitely being used. A friend is going to tell you, look, I know what you're wearing, but I really don't like that shirt. I don't like it. But I mean, if that's what you want to wear, you can wear it. But I really don't like those shoes. But I mean, why every time we go out, you wear the same shoes? You wear the same shoes all the time, right? But in honesty is, you know, being able to be transparent enough to where you're not afraid that you're going to hurt the other person's feelings, or that the other person is going to feel that you judge them or you look at them some kind of way. Sometimes you have to respect honesty and look at it from that perspective. If you're in a relationship with somebody and they're being totally honest about how they feel, about what they think, if you disagree with that, that's okay. But in their honesty, at least you know what they feel, why they feel the way that they feel, why they're saying what they're saying. And now it's your implementation to find out, hey, why do you feel that way? Why do you think this way? Why do you say what you say? And because you're honest with me, now I know that you feel this way. We could deal with this. How many of us have been in relationships before where we felt some kind of way and we dealt with things? We never said anything. We held it in. And then when things didn't go right or things went astray, it comes out later on, and it's like a smack in the face to the other person, because they would say, well, if you felt that way, if you thought that way, how come you never said anything? All this time we've been in a relationship with each other, and you felt this way, you were thinking this way, but you never said anything. And you held it because maybe you didn't want to hurt the person's feelings, or you figured it would cause a fight, it would cause an argument, and you said, well, hey, I'll just hold on to that. But in retrospect, had you been honest, it could have changed the dynamics of the relationship. One of the things I like to tell people when we deal with honesty is, write a letter to yourself about truths you have been avoiding in a relationship. I honor truth, and I am safe in truth. I am safe to be honest, and honest deepens the love I give and receive. I am safe to be honest, and honesty deepens the love I give and receive. When you understand about the honesty will say, hey, I feel some kind of way. Um, for instance, when you working two separate jobs, the wife has a job, the husband has a job, and sometimes you may hear your wife talk about her work husband, right? That's just something that happens. And she may say, oh, my work husband, Craig, we went to lunch, we had lunch with, and all, we were talking and this and that. And you may feel some kind of way about that. You may say, hey, look, I hear you talking about this guy, Craig, is your work husband, what's going on with that? And she may say, oh, he's just my work husband. We just call each other that, right? And you may have held that thing in so long, you may have even told her how you felt. And so maybe you guys had an argument or a disagreement, and then you bring it out. But had you told her and been honest and say, hey, look, what's going on? I kind of feel some kind of way about that. She would have said, okay, well, you know what? I know you feel some kind of way about that. I'll nip that in the bud. It's just something that on the job, it's a corporate, it's a job thing where you get cool with somebody on the job. you call him your work husband, he calls you your work wife and all that kind of stuff. But I understand that you feel uncomfortable about that. And so honesty, it deepens the love. It deepens the love you give, the love received. But you got to be able to deal in that honesty. It's a give and take. The next key is trust. Trust is what I like to say as the soil where external trust grows. Trust is as the soil where the external trust grows. So your self trust would be the seed, and the external trust grows from self trust. Whenever there's broken trust, it equates to self healing. There has to be a self healing in there because I trusted this person and I was betrayed, I was deceived. Trust. I trusted this person, and now that trust has been broken, whenever you trust somebody, the trust factor is very important because, see, all of these keys that I'm talking about, they don't just go for relationships. These keys need to be unlocked in each and every one of you because these keys work with everything. The friendship, the honesty, the freedom, they work with your kids, they work with your parents, they work with your coworkers. These are the things that will make your interactions, and not just your love relationships, but all relationships work. They will make all relationships work. And what happens is when these things are broken, it don't just affect one. It don't just affect the relationship. It now affects everything else because if this person breaks your trust, you now come into a place where you don't really trust anybody now. You're in a place now where you're like, you know what, I can't really trust anybody now because I've been my trust has been broken. And so you now have to reflect on, why am I experiencing this? Why is this happening to me in such of a way? When you look at the trust timeline, you want to identify past betrayals, the times when you had to forgive somebody and reclaim your trust vibration. Declare one boundary that protects your trust vibration. You know, in the end, I say this all the end. In the end, love always wins. In the end, love wins. Love is a healing power. Love is a healing power. Um, I want to do I think I'm going to do a series on love because I believe that the way that we look at love, or the way we uh, use love, I believe that we're using it in the wrong connotation because love is the most powerful power that we have in the world, the most powerful force, the most powerful, uh, 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 I would say, energy force that we have. Love is intangible. And so we have many byproducts of love, but I don't think we really understand love. But the reason I'm bringing up love is because love is one of the ways that can help you to navigate and unlock a lot of these keys. Now, listen, all of these keys that we're talking about, you're not you want all of these things, right? But you want to unlock these things in yourself first. You want to unlock these keys in yourself first. Why? Because you only get a life which you are. So once you unlock these keys and you begin to start operating in them, you start attracting like attracts like. I trust myself, and I attract partners who are trustworthy and who align with my spirit. The next key is understanding. Active listening versus reactive listening. Compassionate communication and seeking to understand before being understood. You know, one of the things that you want to do is in understanding, you want to be able to understand the person, understand what they're saying, understand who they are, understanding their purpose, understanding their understanding who they are, and getting in all your ways, get understanding in every aspect of this person who you're in a relationship with. I need to understand who you are. I need to understand why you think the way you think. Listen, keep in mind, when you get in a relationship with somebody, you're not getting in a relationship with who they think, how they look, what they wear, how much money they have. You're getting in a relationship with their mind. M-I-N-D. When you get in a relationship with somebody, you're getting in a relationship with their mind. And how they utilize these 6 keys is going to be determined about how they operate in their mental. Because you can find somebody who looks good, somebody who dresses well, somebody who smells good, somebody who has a nice car. They have all of those things, but when you get to know them and really get to talk to them, you're like, oh my God, this person is not good at all. Like, this person is so opposite what I'm looking for, but you are attracted to the physical. And you realize that what I thought I wanted, what looked it good, what looked it uh, appetizing to me, uh, it wasn't good. It wasn't good at all. So when you get in a relationship with somebody, you are getting in a relationship with their mind, what they think, how they were brought up, how they were raised, what are their belief patterns, what do they like, what do they don't like, who do they think they are. All of the mental things that are going on. This is who you're in a relationship with. And so it's very vital that you understand who you're in a relationship with. Because this is another thing. We talked about friendship, right? You could have a friend, and you and that friend could be friends forever, lifetime best friends. And normally, best friends who are really good friends usually go to that next level. But sometimes you could be in a friendship, and it could be something about that friend that you could say, you know what? I know for a fact that we could remain friends and love each other as friends forever, but I could never get in a relationship with them because I know I understand who they are, and who they are, I I I know that's not me. See, when you get into a level of understanding, you understanding who the person is, you understand why they do what they do, why they are the way that they are, why do they think that way, why do they talk that way. You get a level of understanding. You want to be able to understand this person and vice versa. I tell people this all the time. The real key to relationships is when 2 people get together, everybody has a combination lock. Everybody. The secret to a relationship is you trying to figure out the combination to the other person's lock and begin to unlock it. Because when you're able to do that, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of detail. It takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of time. And that means that that's what you're trying to do. I'm really trying to get an understanding of who this person is. I really want to get locked in. Now, when you find out the person's combination and you unlock the lock, you're in. And so we have to get beneath the surface. Relationships are not surface. They are beneath the surface. You got to get beneath the surface. And so, you know, I think that we have been bamboozled. I'll say this, and if people feel like I'm wrong, or if people feel like I'm saying something that's inadequate, you can definitely reach out to me and tell me that I'm wrong in this. We look at things, I think, from a wrong perspective. Just because you were married for 50 years doesn't mean that your marriage is successful. Because if I sit down and I interview you, and I interview both of you together, or I interview you separately, you're going to tell me things that you went through and encountered, and the average person would say, well, if that was me, I wouldn't have stayed in the marriage. I wouldn't have stayed. I wouldn't have went through that. I wouldn't have took that. I wouldn't be able to deal with all of that, right? Number two, most of the time when you've been married that long, you're at a place where you're like, look, we done been together this long, we might as well just stay together. Whether I'm overjoyed and happy, still in love with you or whatever, we're at this point now where we are more like companions. We done been together so long that I know what you need, you know what I need, and we're just going with the flow. It's not necessarily that I'm in love with this person or that we are, living this wonderful marriage to life, but we've gotten to a place now where it's just comfort and we're just thriving. So you gotta be able to look at that and really understand about relationships. A lot of times we see people that's been together for 50 years and we like, oh my God, they're so successful. You find out they sleep in the separate rooms. They've been sleeping in separate rooms for 20 years. So you gotta look at all of that kind of stuff. You have to look at that. We have to really understand relationship, and you have to realize that once again, when you get in a relationship with somebody, you have to realize that they're not going to stay the same. Everybody's needs and wants and desires change. What I wanted in year one is not what I need in year 5. So you can't still treat me like we're in year 1. We both evolved. My needs in a relationship in year 6 are going to be totally different than they were in year 2. And then sometimes you evolve, you grow. So, yeah, I loved you. We were good friends. We had freedom. We had honesty. But I'm just at a point in my life where I want to go a different way. And that's what happens. So all of these things have to be, looked upon. But in all you're getting, get understanding. I listen with love. I understand with compassion. And I understand in divine timing. This one here I want to talk about is communication. Communication, ladies and gentlemen, is not how well you speak. It's how well you're understood. That's communication. I don't care how loud you speak, screaming and yelling, throwing stuff. That's not communication. Communication is the ability for me to understand what you're trying to communicate. The energy behind words and nonverbal communication. Creating safe spaces for dialogue and relationships. Communication is the key. Uncommunicated expectations never get met. Uncommunicated expectations will never get met. Communication, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be the key in everything. And communication is not how well you speak, it's how well you're understood. So you got to make sure that the person that you're dealing with is beginning to understand what are you communicating, which means that whoever I'm communicating to, I have to understand how to communicate to them. Everybody has a different level of communication. Some people are visual. Some people need to hear it. Some people need to write it. You need to be able to understand the person you're dealing with and how can I communicate to them. So what's the best way that they can understand me as I'm communicating? Because believe it or not, in relationships, that's some of the biggest problems is miscommunication. Well, I said this, right? I said ABC, and you come back and tell me you thought I said DC, DEF. I thought you meant DEF, but that's not what I said. I said ABC. Miscommunication. You told me DEF, and then you come back later and say, I know I said DEF, but I meant ABC. Come on. That's miscommunication. Say what you mean and mean what you say. But also understand that communication is how well you're understood, not how well you speak. So when you tell me DEF, that's what I think you mean, DEF. I'm not thinking you mean ABC. So you got to be able to communicate to me so that we can understand and be on the same page to communicate that when you speak, I understand what you're saying, and when I speak, you understand what I'm saying. Because one of the biggest problems that happens in relationships is miscommunication. I got to be able to speak and you understand what I'm saying. And it doesn't take a long time. I don't have to go through all the hoops and hurdles. But when you speak, I want to be able to understand what you're saying and take into retrospect what's being said, what's being communicated to me. Because communication, ladies and gentlemen, is the key. You got to be able to communicate. I communicate with clarity, kindness, and confidence, and I am heard. You know, sometimes people say you listening, but you're not hearing. You're listening, but you're not hearing. Communication is listening, hearing, and also comprehending. Because you can listen and you can hear, but that don't mean you comprehending. Communication is how well you're understood. In that word understanding is going to be about listening, it's going to be about hearing, and you also comprehending what I'm saying, which means that you are dissecting it. You're allowing yourself to get a deep understanding of what I said. But then you have to make sure that you are speaking and communicating in the way that you should. Don't tell me DEF, and then you come back later and tell me that you meant ABC. That's miscommunication. If I tell you ABC, I mean ABC. You can't come back to me and be like, well, I heard you say ABC, but I figured you meant DEF. That's not what I said. So I think that the communication, ladies and gentlemen, is the key. It's the key to relationship with your children. It's the key to relationship with your parents, with your coworkers, with your boss, with everything that you're dealing with. You need that. And so I think it's imperative that we really get into this and really begin to understand the premises here of these keys that need to be unlocked. And everybody who's going to be manifesting the relationship that you desire, You got to be able to unlock these keys into yourself and unlock these keys into everything that you're doing. And when you do that, everything will fall into place. Everything will fall into the right place at the right time. You'll meet the right person. And things will begin to go and things will begin to flow. I think that everybody needs to be in a relationship. It's something about when two worlds come together. It's something great about when two minds come together and you begin to work together. You begin to really get a great understanding. And I also believe that, I tell people all the time, go out and date. Because the more you date, the more you understand about yourself. The more you interact with other people, the more you begin to understand about yourself, the more you learn about yourself. And the more that you begin to really see these keys being unlocked within you, the more you deal with the communication, the honesty, the freedom, the friendship. Yes. And I believe that as you operate in these keys, your eyes will begin to open and you start seeing things that you never saw before because now you're operating at a different level. You start hearing things you never heard before. And you will begin to see those things. They often said that when a man meets a woman, he says to her, "Oh my God, she's so beautiful. I want her to stay that way for the rest of her life." And when a woman sees a man, she says, "Oh man, he has so much potential. I know he can really become a great person." And in the end, they're both wrong because the man doesn't want the woman to change. And the woman believes that because he has the potential, she can mold him into what she wants him to be. And in the end, they're both wrong. The woman is going to change, my friend. She's going to get older. She may gain weight. She may, and the man, not necessarily, you see the potential, but he may not be the kind that you can mold into what you want him to be. And so in the end, both were wrong. There's nothing wrong with dating potential, but make sure that you're operating in these 6 keys. The more you know about yourself, the more you will learn about other people. The more you learn and operate in these 6 keys, the more you will begin to learn more about yourself and who you are. The more you will begin to operate and move and elevate and move into some things. So I wanted to just tell you guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you got something out of this. I think this was phenomenal. Relationships, if you know somebody that's in a relationship, if you know somebody that's looking for a relationship, hit the share button, copy the link, text it to them, email it to them, let them know they need to hear this. They need to get these 6 keys and begin to operating in them. You know somebody getting ready to get married? Let them hear this. These are the 6 keys that are needed in every relationship that will make it successful, that will make it meaningful, that will make it impactful. So I want to thank all of you. Thank you once again. Please hit the like button. If you haven't done so, please hit the subscribe button. If you love this message and you say, man, this is really good, I want to be a blessing to your ministry, I want to sow into your ministry, there are 4 ways that you can give. Those 4 ways are, the first one is Cash App, which is going to be $TOESC, $TOESC. The second one is going to be, the second and third one are going to be PayPal and Zelle, which are going to be connected to our email address, which is info, INFO, at TOESC.org. That's INFO at TOESC.org. And that's for PayPal and Zelle. And then the last one is Venmo. You can give to Venmo, which is going to be Issachar Bey at gmail.com. That's ISSACHARBEY @gmail.com. Once again, that is also in the description. All the ways to give. Our address is there. If you want to send us a check or a money order, you can write it out to the Temple of Enlightenment, and you can mail it to us. Any other gifts that you have or anything that you want us to have, you can mail it. We are forever grateful. I want to thank all of you for your continued support. Let everybody know we're here, same place, same time every week. We want to thank all of you for your commitment and for your honesty. We want to talk about, as we have talked about today, relationships. Everybody, you're going to be unlocking the 6 keys: friendship, freedom, honesty, trust, understanding, and communication. These 6 keys, ladies and gentlemen, will take your relationship to the next level and will definitely elevate your life, because these 6 keys will make you a better version of yourself. And so I want to thank all of you for your support. I like to say this one thing: your destiny is not a matter of chance, but it's a matter of choice. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.